And now, please help me welcome to the stage your host all evening long, Doug Mellard.
Yeah! I was waiting for that song to kick in. Wait, play it. Can you play it? No, never mind. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. Hell yeah. Some wings, you guys. No one cares. I was pumped. Hey, guys, what is going on, Austin? Dan Cummins is here, everybody. Come on. You're goddamn right. It's gonna be awesome. We're in for a hell of a night, you guys. How was your Halloween? Everybody have a good time? Everybody survived? That's good. My Halloween was kind of weird. My wife and I lived in a house together for the first time this Halloween. So we were... It's weird that got a laugh. There's no way you have a wife. You live in a house? I don't think so. We were all pumped to have trick-or-treaters together for the first time. We lived in this apartment that never had anybody come by. It was gated or whatever, so no one came by. So we were all pumped to have trick-or-treaters, and we decorated the house like crazy, like all these balloon thingies out. I don't know how to describe it. We got so much candy, all the candy, you know? We were thrilled to have trick-or-treaters. There were trick-or-treaters up and down our block, you know? But no one, only a few, really, came to us. And we were so disappointed. We got insecure about it. We were like, why is no one coming to our house? And then a few hours later, a buddy of ours dropped by, and he pointed out all the reasons why. Our house is backwards. The living room is upstairs. We can't hear people knocking downstairs, so we put a sign for the trick-or-treaters on the outside stairwell to come up to the balcony, and it said, "Trick-or-treaters, come upstairs for candy." Yeah. Just looked like some sort of pedophile trap. Not good. And then he further pointed out that upstairs we had forgotten the night before we had carved pumpkins on the balcony where we were luring the children. And we'd forgotten to put away the tarp that was laid down. And the row of organized knives on a table. Like, we don't need pumpkins to carve. We got kids. We're going to become like an urban legend now, you know? The couple that carves up kids, wraps the little bits into candy wrappers, gives it out the next year. Yep, that's us. It'd be a good scared to death story. Ding! Light bulb just went off. Yeah. I've had a lot of embarrassing Zoom moments over the last couple years. Anybody else? Yeah, a few of you. Not the funnest. Here's what happened to me most recently. My wife was having a Zoom physical therapy session. Yeah, and at one point, I thought I was off camera. I assumed I was off camera, but about 40 minutes in, I hear the physical therapist say, "It looks like your husband is enjoying himself." Yeah. And no, I was not masturbating. It was much worse. Yeah, to stay off camera, which I failed at doing, I had crammed myself into the corner of the couch in my boxers, and I was eating not one, but 4 hard-boiled eggs. Like a demon. And I was enjoying myself. Until that moment. And there's no way to rebound from that. You know, I did my best. I grabbed my laptop right there, and I opened it up, and I just said, "Excuse me, but I have a meeting with the church elders now." I don't think he bought it. Who here has seen the film Roadhouse? Anybody? Yeah. Cool crowd. That was the correct response. It's a great film. If you haven't seen it, it's a 1989 cinematic masterpiece starring Patrick Swayze in his prime, sporting the most denim a human can wear, and the greatest mullet the universe has ever known. That's right. You can applaud that. I'll salute it even. It's great. Basically, quick synopsis, if you haven't seen it, it's about a guy named Dalton that goes around ripping guys' throats out. That's pretty much the film. It's awesome. It's got that, it's got titties, it's got monster trucks. It's got everything. It's pretty cool. And it also happens to feature some of the best writing in cinematic history. She's seen it. I'll give you my favorite example. 4 minutes, 38 seconds into the film, I've seen it a lot. A woman walks up to the bartender and orders a vodka rocks. Which, what? That's just like a giant shot. She orders a vodka rocks, and then a gentleman walks up to her and says, "Hey there, vodka rocks. How's about you and me get nipple to nipple?" Yeah, that's in the movie. "Hey there, vodka rocks. How about you and me get nipple to nipple?" There were executives that sat around a board meeting table. They watched that and they were like, "Yep, that stays in the film. That's gonna win us an Oscar." My wife and I quote this film all the time, particularly that line. At this point in our house, that's like saying "I love you" or "good morning," you know? It's just totally normal. And a few weeks ago, my wife was going to pick up her car at the mechanics, which is about a half mile away. She's walking. I happen to drive by her. I do a U-turn. I pull up next to her, and I yell out the window, "Hey there, vodka rocks. How's about you and me get nipple to nipple?" She doesn't even flinch. It doesn't faze her. She just gets in the car. We drive off. We don't think about it for hours. And then suddenly, hours later, she starts cracking up. And I'm like, "What is so funny?" And she was like, "There were other people on the sidewalk when you yelled that at me. They think that line worked on me." And I was like, "That is awesome." And she did not high-five me. I like to think that the people that did witness that on the sidewalk tried that line later that night at a bar. And now they're engaged, of course. We went to see a friend's band play at a music festival about a year ago. And after her set, we were trying to go back to her trailer to hang out. And there were two problems with that. One, we were on all the mushrooms in the world. And two, all of the trailers looked the same. So we were confused on multiple levels. And so we're about to walk into the trailer. Our friend reaches for the door to what she thinks is her trailer, and then she yells, "Oh shit," and she jumps backwards. And that's when we see a sign on the trailer, and we realize this is not her trailer. It belongs to another musical act. You may have heard of them. They're called the Wu-Tang Clan. Yeah. And we decided not to go in under those circumstances. I tried. I was like, "No, I think we should do it. I think they're going to love me right now." I was tripping balls. I was like, "I'm going to form a bond." They're like, "We're not doing this." And I still have regrets to this day, you know, that we didn't go in that trailer. But I have solace. I take solace in the fact that somewhere in the multiverse, there's another me out there that is in the Wu-Tang Clan. That's right. Somewhere out there, it's Raekwon, RZA, Jizza, Ghostface Killah, and Doug. Hell yeah. And all of my raps are about farts. That's what I bring to the table. You'll see in a little bit. I'm not going to fart on stage. That's weird. I complimented a woman's pants the other day. I was like, hey, I love your pants. And she stopped and scanned me up and down as if to look for something on me to compliment. And then she just said, thank you. Fuck you, lady. How easy is it to lie? In her defense, I was only wearing Crocs, so kind of get it. I gave Charles Manson's music a listen the other day, just out of morbid curiosity. Yeah, he has like some folk albums out there. I was like, I'm gonna give this a whirl. Just curious, you know? And guys, it's pretty good. I was like enjoying it. And I was like, oh God, what does this say about me? Am I a murderer now? Am I gonna kill people? And as freaked out as I was for myself, I felt way more freaked out for the artist the algorithm suggested based on me liking Charles Manson. Like, if you love Charles Manson, you'll really love James Taylor. Yeah, I did not see that coming. It's always the quiet ones. Not to brag, but I went to a children's water park in Golden, Colorado a few years ago. We don't have kids. It's pretty weird. We're just hanging out. Nah, we went with my wife's like baby cousins. They were all excited. There were two really fast slides that the kids had to have an adult with them at all times if they wanted to go down the slides. So we kept taking the baby cousins down these slides. And it was going great until it wasn't anymore. Here's what happened. At one point, my wife and I shoot out at the bottom together and with the two kiddos. And my wife panics. She's like, oh my God, my sunglasses are missing. They were on my head. And so I was like, no worries. I yell at a lifeguard. She shuts off the jet so we can see better. We're digging around. We can't find them. There's a row of kids that are just, it's building up. The line is building up. They hate us so much. Kids by nature impatient. Kids waiting for a water slide, the most impatient creatures on the planet. They start to boo us. Have you ever been booed at a water park? It's awful. But finally, I see the sunglasses, I close my eyes, I dive underwater, I grab the sunglasses, but guess what else I grab? A human ball of shit. That's right. I pop out of the water faster than any dolphin has ever jumped out of the water. I hold up this hand. I point to the streak of shit, which was right here. I can still feel it to this day. I've thought about having this arm amputated many times. I point to the shit hand. I do a 360 turn, pointing to the shit hand, and I'm just yelling, "There's shit in this water! There's poop in here! The kids that were booing me not 3 seconds ago now love me. This is the greatest day of their lives. They get to ride on water slides, and there's a crazy guy talking about poo-poo. I keep pointing to it. I go up to the lifeguard. I'm like, "There's shit! Look at this! Ah!" And she's just like, "Look, dude, I'm 15. I'm getting paid $3 an hour. And yeah, man, we're in a children's water park. What did you expect? All of it, shit and piss everywhere, buddy. Have you seen my eyes? We all have pink eye, buddy." The kicker to that, my wife's glasses were broken. Yeah, they weren't even, fixable. I go up to my wife with her broken sunglasses after I washed my hands for about 4 hours. And I was like, "I'm sorry about your sunglasses." And she was like, "It's fine. They were $5 at Target." What? I touched human shit for $5? 10, maybe. And on top of that, every time I go down the slide with one of the cousins, every time I would make the same dumb joke. I was like, oh, I just pooped on the slide. It's going to beat us down. And they loved it. They thought it was so funny. But for the rest of my life, they're going to think that was my shit. Speaking of shit, that's my one transition, my whole time up here. It's pretty good. I recently had to get a stool sample. Yeah, it was fun. I don't know if you've ever had to do that. Oh, God, it's not enjoyable. There's a few ways to go about it. This is how the doctor wanted me to do it. They basically gave me what looks like a children's cowboy hat. I'm not joking. It looks like a kid's cowboy hat. You put it on the back of your toilet, and you shit away. And then that comes with a little tube that has some liquid in it. And at the end of the tube, there's a little screw-off cap that comes with what's basically the world's tiniest, worst spoon. Yeah, it doesn't even really do anything. It just kind of moves it around a little bit. I threw up while I was getting the stool sample. I am not joking. It was not enjoyable at all. But I get it. I take it in. I drop it off, and they're like, all right, in 3 to 4 days, you'll get your results. 3 weeks pass. I hear nothing. I happen to be driving by the doctor's office, so I just walk in there. I decide I'm just going to ask him. So I go into the lab, and I turn a corner, and I run into this woman, and she looks at me, and she just says, Doug? I freaked out. I was like, oh my God, my shit was so weird. This lady knows my name and face. Like, they've had meetings about me already. And she was like, hey, yeah, we lost your shit sample in the mail. I was like, why is it being mailed? What's happening here? And she's like, yeah, there's these contractors. Once they get involved, you know, just everything goes to shit. And I'm like, how many people are involved in this process? This is crazy. So, I mean, like, can you imagine that's your job? Like, hey, what do you do for work? Oh, well, I'm a third-party contractor. You see people shit in a tube. They put that tube of shit in the mail. I intercept that tube of shit. And then I hand it to a scientist. It's like the world's worst relay team. I'm so angry. And she's like, yeah, you're going to have to shit in another hat. She gives me another shit hat. I'm sad and angry. I go home. My car was totaled in an accident the night before, so I had to walk home with a shit hat. I'm not having a good 24 hours. I get home, and I'm so mad. And I mean, I fill that fucker up good. And which is only a detriment to me, really. Because then I gotta do, you know, it's gross. And then as soon as I got my latex gloves on, and I get the tube out, but then I notice the tube doesn't have the liquid that keeps it fresh. So I freak out. I'm like, oh my God, this isn't gonna even like keep. I'm like, I'm gonna have to shit in a third hat. And there's no way that's happening. The place is not that far. It's about a half-mile walk, but I'm gonna sprint. I decide I'm gonna sprint to the doctor, get another vial with the liquid, sprint back, so that and just leave the shit in the hat on the floor. And hope that it will keep. So I open the bathroom door, leave the shit in the hat on the floor, jump out of the bathroom door, and my wife happens to walk in from out of town. She's out of town that weekend. She walks in, she sees me, and I'm only wearing latex gloves. My hair is crazy. We haven't seen each other in 3 days, and I just yell, "Don't go in the bathroom! There's shit in the hat on the floor!" And she was just like, I'm never leaving you home alone again, ever. My wife is a saint. I had a Lyft driver coming back from the Austin airport a few weeks ago that as soon as we got in, he told me, like, he didn't speak English. He turns around, he holds his phone with Google Translate in front of my face, and there's a question, and it asks, do you think I can pass a little gas? I swear to God. I get in a car, a guy turns the phone around, and that's what I see. Do you think I can pass a little gas? And I'm like, oh my God, I love this guy. He doesn't speak English, and he's making quirky jokes. This guy is great. 5 stars. I laugh hysterically in his face, and then he looks very upset. It's obvious very quickly that is not what he meant, and he is very embarrassed. And he doesn't even know what he said. So I'm like scrambling in my head. I'm like, oh my God, what did he mean? What did he mean? I don't want this guy to feel bad. I don't want this guy. That's when I realized he was asking, do you think I can get a little gas? So we go around. I was like, see. We go around a corner, and he fills up his tank with gas, and then he gets back in the car and rips the loudest fart I've ever heard in my life. And I was like, now this guy's just fucking with me. I don't know what's going on. A guy stopped me on the street the other day, and he was like, Dave? And I was like, no, it's Doug. And he was like, you look just like my best friend Dave. And I was like, I hate to break it to you, but if you don't know what Dave looks like, I don't think you guys are actually best friends. What's crazy is, like, a few seconds later, he stopped an old black lady with a walker, and he was like, Dave? I was like, man, I'm jealous of that guy. Just bumbling through life. Did you guys know that Paul Bunyan, I just don't think that it was any coincidence that Paul Bunyan was a lumberjack living in the woods alone, and he happened to have a pet ox named Babe? No way that's a coincidence. But what a lot of you don't know, he also had a pet Labrador named Sweet Pussy. Yeah, the guy was a monster. I will never forget the day that I walked in on my best friend. I walked into his room, and I saw him sitting in a chair, dead, with a needle in his arm. Yeah, freak sewing accident, you guys. No, it was heroin. I grew up in Plano, Texas, so yeah, a lot of heroin. And I don't know if you know this about Plano, but the year I graduated, 22 students overdosed from heroin. 22. Yeah. The really sad part, we didn't even have a good jazz scene, you guys. That's a clever jazz and heroin joke. Who here knows who Richard Gere is? Anybody? Yeah. Those of you that don't know who Richard Gere is, he was this very mediocre actor that had a lot of, be honest, he had a lot of success in the 90s, right, in movies. Best known film-wise for the hit film Pretty Woman. But who here knows what Richard Gere is actually best known for? Gerbils. I heard hamster maybe up there. Yep. No wrong answer. However you heard the story. Now, the people that don't know who Richard Gere is, they're very confused. Here's what happened. Back when Richard Gere's acting career was taking off, something else took off. A rumor that one day he had to go to the hospital and have a gerbil removed from his ass for some kind of sexual pleasure. And the whole world knew this rumor. And this was before the internet. There was like a street team out there of some kind. It's like, hey, have you heard? Richard Gere's got a gerbil up his butt. Pass it on. And I remember people were bummed for him. They're like, oh, that sucks for that guy. That's terrible. And I was like, are you kidding me? That is awesome. Somebody was so jealous of his success, they had to make up a rumor that that guy had a gerbil stuck up his ass. That gerbil is a status symbol. I wish I had people talking about me like that. Like, no one's ever said that about me, ever. And I currently have 3 gerbils up my ass right now. I just hope that when Richard Gere passes away, which hopefully is a long time from now, I hope that when it happens, that next to his tombstone, he has a great sense of humor about it, and there's just a tiny little tombstone that says, "My buddy." That'd be great. I'll leave you guys with this. Before I go, give it up for the wait staff, by the way. They're taking care of you. Please tip them and tip them well. And I'm buddies with Dan. I tour with him a lot and stuff, but I'm a local comic here. This comedy scene is kick-ass, you guys. If you don't take advantage of it, you really should come out to Cap City more often. And I'll actually be headlining the Red Room upstairs twice the next weeks or couple months. I don't know. A month. December 1st and like next Saturday. Anyway, but yeah, come back, support live comedy, support Cap City. So give it up for that. And yeah, Cap City, baby, it's back. I'll leave you this. I recently accidentally started a dildo collection. Yeah, this happened. Thank you. And ma'am. Or sir. And here's what happened. A few years ago, I was at my future in-laws' house. We were celebrating Christmas for the first time together. And at one point, this box comes my way. It's wrapped. And I'm like, "Oh, this is from you guys." And I draw attention to myself. I open it up, and it is a giant dildo. Yeah, that's weird. I look at the dildo. I look at them, my future in-laws. I look back at the dildo. Never want to look at them again. I'm like, what is this? What do they want me to do with this thing to their daughter? This is a weird family. Right about then, I hear my future brother-in-law cracking up. That's when I realized he has played a wonderful joke on me. He just wrapped up a giant dick in a box, slapped on a name tag, said it was from his parents. That's genius. I'm not mad. That's awesome. You guys should try it this holiday season. We should all do this. Luckily, we all have a laugh about it. And I'm like, I gotta marry into this family. These guys are great. The dildo family. And cut to a few years later, I'm back at that very house. I propose to my now wife at that same house, and we start celebrating where the champagne is flowing. And at one point, my brother-in-law brings over this 3-foot extravagantly wrapped box. No way there's dick in there, right? It's too big. But I open it up, and wouldn't you know it, it is a dildo. Yeah. If you don't know what a dildo is, close your eyes right now. Picture the words drill and dildo. Put those things together. That's exactly what you see in your head. Looks like a Black & Decker drill with a big old dick on the end. The reason the box was so big, it comes with a construction helmet. I'm not making this up. Safety goggles, a reflective safety vest. Got to be responsible with this thing. And the dildo itself has a very powerful light on it. And so hours later, we're drinking, we're having fun. We're about to walk back to the main house, and that's when my mother-in-law was like, we're about to walk to the guest house where we're staying, and it's about 100 yards away, and we're in New Mexico. It's bear country. It's bear season. There's bears in the area. And she's like, you guys can't walk back to the guest house without a flashlight. Yeah. That's when I remember the dildo has the light. But you have to press the trigger to make it go. So the two newly engaged lovebirds are just walking back. His dick flopping around. We're giggling like idiots. We can't help but notice it casts a 30-foot shadow of a dick on the road. Yeah. We're picturing pilots up above pointing out. If you look out the left-hand side of the plane, you will see why they call New Mexico the land of enchantment. And guys, I had been visiting that place for 3 years at that point, and wouldn't you know it, never seen a bear. But the one time I'm drunk with a dildo, we come across our first bear. Long story short, I murdered a bear with a drill dough. I'm joking. He loved it. Yeah. Tame the beast. His name is Frank. He lives in the guest house now. That's it for me, guys. You guys ready to get the party started?